Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Peteman Reviews. Finishing off our Combiner Wars section of Sky Lynx, we have Hound. Now, I was all ready to launch into a video about how great the mould for Hound is and how the fact that they've gone to the effort of making a unique mould with a lot of good detailing, that actually it worked very well and was, finally something that was original. Then I remembered Combiner Wars Swindle. The two, with the exception of the colour schemes and probably the head mould, are identical. So Hound is yet another one of those characters where all Hasbro have done is change the colour scheme. I mean, it's frustrating, isn't it? Oh, never mind. So I have to say, of the two colours, I actually think Hound is a slightly better colour scheme. The green works slightly better than the Desert Warfare edition of Swindle. Now, obviously, if you're in the desert, you want to be Swindle's colour. What I particularly like with the Hound one is the fact that his combiner elements, so there we go, you can just see there, and if we pull underneath here, this part here, have been coloured so that they match the rest of his colour scheme. We look at Swindle, and while I guess it matches that bit, it still stands out more. And this, again, they have coloured it a bit, but it's not quite as detailed in the colour. So you've got purple and purple, and you've got silver with silver, but then there's this beige bit here, which doesn't have any corresponding colour to, so it would need this top bit here to be coloured beige. Hound, of course, being completely green, doesn't have this problem, though perhaps that bit could have been done black, I suppose, thinking about it. So there we are. The weapons between the two, disappointingly, are identical as well, though Swindle's, for some unknown reason, has a beige piece there, whereas Hound's completely silver. And Hound's one is a slightly different shade of grey, slightly shinier, but otherwise the two are identical. So when you watch the review of Swindle, Combiner Wars Swindle, I haven't yet done Combiner Wars Swindle in my route before you go and look at it, but if you watch someone else's review of Swindles, and when it comes to mind, just think of Hound. The two are 100% identical. So let's transform Hound. Right, I'm just going to ignore this for now. That said, before we do that, I quite like how this mounts on the side here, so it kind of gives an all-round range of fire. That's quite a nice touch. And the weapon, I do like how the fact you can mount it up there like that, because I think that looks pretty good. The fact you can do that, it gives it quite a nice, Gatling gun. It is a Gatling gun, but it gives it quite a nice feel when it's firing there. The downside being, on this side it's got lovely exquisite moulding, and on the other side there's virtually nothing. I suppose you've got the final barrel here, but this bit is just horrible, just the inner vacuum tube of the plastic. So when he holds it, he has to hold it in his left hand, so you can have it like that, because if he holds it in his right hand, you get all of that exposed. Put that to one side, never mind. Okay, transformation. These are his arms here, these are his legs, and these are actually his feet. So we'll start off with the arms. You can see the hand is just under here. So what we are going to be doing, actually, before we do that, I'm just going to lift this up. Like so. This is very, very prone to popping off here. Doesn't matter too much if it does pop off. You can put it back on, though I'm sure eventually this will suffer from plastic fatigue. But just be warned, this pops off very, very easily. Exactly the same on Swindle as well. So now that's free. Arms come up, and on this side as well. Now you can see you've got a little ratcheting joint here, so it folds down like that. Same on that side as well. This part here becomes his head. It flips up like that and then rotates round, as this is the front of your character. This will then flip all the way back. You can kind of see there's a little hole here, which is what you're aiming for this to go in. As it comes back, you then flip that round like that, and then you can see that that's now slotted in. Arms, you just rotate round like so. So basically this part is rearward facing. And that's the top of Hound. Okay, so now for the legs. They come apart like that, and it's a fairly standard. You just pull down and it slots in like that, snaps in like that, and then the feet pops like that. Right up like that. Same on this side, pops in right up like that. You've got some sideways movement there, so it helps for posability. And just to demonstrate what I meant by the gun. So if you put it in there, you can only stand like that, which I guess is fine if you want to pose like that, but like that is suddenly instantly obvious with all the holes. So I tend to put it in this hand, because while you've still got the holes on that side, you're mostly going to, your eye naturally draws to holding him like that with the gun, so it works fine. And there we go. Oh, don't kick the camera. So just zoom in there. It is quite a decent mould of Hound. I particularly, by which I mean the head, obviously, which is the only unique thing about him. But you know, it's very recognisable as him. The green works well, and I quite like the fake front of him there, which is very much an homage to the original Hound. Though obviously being somewhat taller as well. Okay, so I'll just get Swindle and we can have a look at him in comparison. Okay, just zoom out and there he is. Okay, I mean, one is quite obviously Hound and one is quite obviously Swindle, and they've achieved it entirely through the colorisation and through the different head moulds. Otherwise the two are absolutely identical. If we just zoom in on the arm here, you know, the only difference is the colour scheme and the fact that I guess that one's got a Decepticon symbol on it. Otherwise, they're identical, and the same is true of pretty much every part of them. Well, not pretty much every part of them. I mean, let's look at the legs here. You know, you've got the silver detailing on Swindle and the black detailing on Hound. Two are absolutely identical, so that's disappointing. If we ignore this guy, pretend he doesn't exist, Hound is actually quite a good transformer. He's got the full range of articulation you would expect with modern day transformers, so he's got full range of movement with his hands and arms. His hands don't actually move, but the arms move well, the head moves, his waist swivels, you've got knees. It's a shame that the original Hound didn't have anything like this. But anyway, never mind. Height-wise, obviously he's Combiner Wars Transformer, so he's similar height to other Combiner Wars Transformers. And comparing with Masterpiece Bumblebee, they fit in pretty well together if you assume that Hound's quite a short figure. Obviously, if you had proper Masterpiece Hound, which to my knowledge they haven't released, Hound would be much taller. But I think it works quite well, and we fit in there with Masterpiece Wheeljack. And again, Hound doesn't look entirely out of place here. Perhaps he should be as tall as Wheeljack, so he's perhaps a little bit on the short side, but again, it doesn't feel entirely out of place here. Or maybe Wheeljack's a bit short. It's a bit difficult to say when you consider Bumblebee's not meant to be that much taller than a human. It kind of shows how short Wheeljack is in comparison. But actually the three look quite well together, so I would have appreciated it more if Hound were a proper separate mould rather than just a different head mould, and other than that a complete straight swap of Swindle. Heck, I'd even liked it if the guns were different, but I guess the whole Sky Lynx set, as we've shown, with the probable exception of Sky Lynx himself, are just recolour schemes of existing Transformers. Hasbro have always done that. I mean, you just look at Starscream, Thundercracker and Skywarp. Look at the endless iterations of Prowl. So it's something they've always done. It's just a little bit disappointing that they're still doing it when moulds, I know moulds are expensive to build, but it feels a little bit cheap just to go, actually, we'll call this guy Hound and we'll just take Swindle's mould and just spray him a different colour. Or Smokescreen. Smokescreen, who was Wild Rider or Dead End. Wheeljack, who was Breakdown. We'll do a Masterpiece review of Wheeljack at some point as well, just to demonstrate the differences. I didn't have Masterpiel's Wheeljack when I did the original review of Wheeljack, and it was partly doing the original review of Wheeljack, and I just was so unimpressed that I went out and got the Masterpiece one. But I digress. Yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed that Hound is a straight swap from Swindle. If you ignore that, it is actually probably, I think, one of the best of the Sky Rain series. I think it's a good toy. I think it looks good. The Jeep mode, an updated kind of almost amphibious looking Jeep, is really effective, and the actual robot mode himself is recognisable as Hound, and it looks great. So if we ignore the mould issues, it is actually quite a good figure, and as I say, probably I think one of the best of the Sky Rain series. Is it worth your money? Well, what other options have you got for Hound? You get the original, which I gather is a little bit small, quite rare to come by. So you've got the original, and all the problems inherent with it. What else? There's not that many obvious versions of Hound that are worthwhile having that comes to mind. The best one I can think of is Vinyl Tech, but you will pay a lot of money for that one. It looks fantastic, but it's quite expensive. So if you've got the money and you want to get the best version of Hound you can, I do recommend the Vinyl Tech version. Otherwise, combine a Wars Hound is not a bad way to go. Thank you very much for watching. Please do leave any comments below, and I will see you for the next review. Thank you. Goodbye.